Hi, I'm Tony Crimlisk. You either love or you hate George Formby songs. His real name was George Hoy Booth. I personally love them for their fun, their vitality, and the way they captured the spirit of the times in the 1930s and the 1940s, which included the years of the rise of jazz, syncopation, and of course World War II, 1939 to 1945. And they really spoke to more than 3 million service personnel and factory workers that he'd entertained by 1946. He was awarded an OBE for his services to his country during the war years. This is one of his best, I think, and it comes from a film called Let George Do It, 1940. The words are by a Liverpool funeral director, Bruce Williams, who wrote under the name of Eddie Latta and wrote other songs for George, like Sitting on the Top of Blackpool Tower. And it also fell to him to bury George when he died tragically just a few months after getting married, when his first wife Beryl had died. Anyway, I'll sing the song through and then I'll go through all the chords and the rhythm patterns. Now in our family we've got an heirloom. They handed it to me a year ago. Been in our possession since Grandad was a lad. Oh, I'll tell you what it is, and then you'll know. It's my Grandad's flannelette nightshirt. In it I was christened one day. Down at the church they were all in a whirl, and no one seemed to know if I was a boy or girl. Well, they had one or two, they were all in a mess, but it's all right, said the preacher, rather curt. I've been and had a quiz, and I've found out what it is by his Grandad's flannelette shirt. Lordy, lordy, his Grandad's flannelette shirt. In me Grandad's flannelette nightshirt, I got married one day. Then in the train my bride gave a shout. Hey, what is that that you're pulling out? I said it old-fashioned and it's tattered and torn, but I brought it honeymooning with me girt. When she said, what is it, dear? I whispered in her ear, it's me Grandad's flannelette shirt. Lordy, lordy, me Grandad's flannelette shirt. Now the other day I got an invitation to go and join a nudist colony. And as the life is healthy and in the open air, I trotted off as happy as can be, with me Grandad's flannelette nightshirt. I walked up to the door. Someone said, now don't make a fuss, just take off your clothes and you'll be like us. But I was bashful and I stayed by myself, for with the girls I didn't want to flirt. But when I fell asleep, they all came and had a peek at me Grandad's flannelette shirt. Lordy, lordy, me Grandad's flannelette shirt. Playing this song makes you realise just how skilled George Formby was, not only playing the rhythms and the chords, but also smiling and looking happy and winking at people, and just generally acting the fool while he's playing it. It's quite a skill. There are 8 chords in this song, all straightforward except perhaps one of them. There is a C chord, there is a G7, a G, an F, an A minor, an A7, both of them 1-finger chords, and a D7. I'm using the Hawaiian D7. But then there's this C diminished 7th. Same shape as all the other diminished 7th chords. And the getting from one chord to this chord I find quite tricky. The first time you do it is a C chord to a C diminished 7th. I found it easier to use my little finger for the C chord because that gives you an anchor point. And you just drop the other fingers down. If you can't, finger isn't strong enough to do that, then you just have to make the jump. Practice it over and over again. I think worse is the F to the C diminished 7th, and that easy enough once you can do it, but doing it at speed and singing it at the same time is a different matter. There is another way of fingering a diminished 7th chord, and that's using a bar. But I know some people have difficulties with bars. I've got a video on that, gives some tips. They're very well worth learning. In this one, you do a normal finger, a third finger on 3rd fret for a C chord, and then put a bar on the 2nd fret and drop that finger, 2nd finger, down onto fret 3 of string 3, and you got the same chord. And if you move the F chord, still a bit tricky, but you can go from F, put the bar on, slide up, move that finger across. That works, and you may find that easier. If all else fails, you still find that chord difficult, there's a final solution, and that is to stick with the F chord. In the Grandad's Flannelette Nightshirt, I was married one day. It works. It's lost some of the colour that George Formby's songs get, but it works. Well, George Formby was a master of the syncopated rhythm. Syncopation is where you miss out the song beats. And I can only suggest you listen to him, listen to others playing it, and try and build up a vocabulary. If you want some visual help, I've done 2 videos, one on the most common strums, which includes some syncopated rhythms, like the island stroke, and the other much longer one on ukulele, strumming patterns on the ukulele, where I'll show you how you can build up all of the strumming patterns that he uses and that I use. But the ones I've used mostly in this is the split stroke, George Formby's strict stroke, where you split the beat, the bar into 8 subbeats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you do a group of 3, 1, 2, 3, followed by another group of 3, followed by 2. So you get that, and taking your finger off that, or variations of it. Is one you can use. I've also used just where you're going on, breaking the bar up into subbeats 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. But the rest of them you can see in those 2 videos. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful, and you'll have a go at it. It's not the easiest of songs, particularly that rhythm and pattern, so work on those rhythm patterns. Anyway, whatever you do, however you do it, have fun.